Good evening, everyone. Today we are going to discuss about some new data structures. Okay. Uh, Most of the time you are going to interact with these data structures whenever creating some projects or anything. In the meanwhile, if you have any doubts from our earlier sessions, you can put that on the chat. Okay. Okay. So we have no doubts then. Okay. See, if you are familiar with other programming languages like C++ or Java, there are data structures like array and array list vectors, right? We are going to discuss about a similar type of data structures in Python. Okay. So what in this Python it is known as list data structure, right? Yeah. Okay. So in Python it is known as list data structure, right? Now how to create a list? There are three ways to create a list. For example, if you want to create a list, you have to use square brackets and you will provide values inside that square brackets. You can provide values of different data types like a integer, string, boolean, then again complex number, right? Okay. If you want to create a list of zero size or an empty list, right? You can do create it like this, or you can create it like this. Okay. This is how you can create a list. These are three types, three ways, right? This particular one is known as definition and declaration, right? So initialization of a list. Okay. And these are just declaring a list variable. Now, see, this is my list. If you want to print a variable, we use print my list, right? And it is printing all the values. Okay. Now, with list, there are multiple types of functions are associated with list. Multiple, you can perform multiple operations on list, which is an advantage as compared to other data types like integer, string, or any other data type. Okay. Let's first discuss some properties of list. Okay. I think it's okay now. Okay. Now again, similar to strings, list supports indexing. Okay. So if we have this list, then again each element will have their own index like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. This whole list have the index 4, 5, and 6. Okay. If you want to print a specific index, you just have to use square brackets to pass the index like index 5 and it will print true. If I will pass index 4, it will print the string, right? Now, as you can see that in index 4, we have a string, right? And we know that string supports indexing, okay? So if I want to access this R only, right? I want to access that R, specifically only that R, not this whole string. So what we can do, print my list. Let's first go to index number 4. In index number 4, we have our string. Now inside that string, let's go to what will be the index of this R 0, 1, 2, 2, and it will print the index, the value R, right? Okay. Now let's take another example. Okay, take this one. Even inside one list, you can put another list, right? You can store any data type inside the list, right? So inside the list, you can store another list, and let's take the values as 100.2, 100.2, and 100.2. The index of this whole list will be 7. Now, if I will try to print my list 7, okay, so it will give me the whole list, right? But I just want to specifically access this particular index value 200.2, right? For that, first of all, let's go to that list that is saved in index number 7. Now inside this list, inside it is another nested list. What will be the index of this 200.2? That will be 1, right? So this will print 200.2. Okay. Now this is how you can access a particular element. Now, as compared to immutable data types like float, integer, or string, lists are mutable. Okay, lists are mutable. Okay, now let's prove that. Now let's print the ID of my list. Right, we have this. This is the ID of my list, the memory location of this list. Right. Okay. Now, guys, suppose in this index number 3, right? Instead of 4, I want to add 20 to that particular index, right? I want 24 in that index. To get 24, I have to add 20, right? So what I will do, my list, which index we are accessing, index number 4, right? What we are doing, we are adding 20 to index number 4, right? Add 20 to index number 4, whatever is the result, put that inside the list in index number 4. Okay. Now, after doing all these, just print the ID and print the list. See, okay, so it's index number 3. Yeah. See, The ID, the memory location of list remains exactly same, okay? And the value is updated from 4, it becomes 24. This is how you can access and modify, access and modify elements in the list, okay? Now, so this is how you can state that lists are mutable data type, because the memory address of lists are not changed after you have performed some manipulation, data manipulation. Okay. Now, suppose in this index number 5, I want to replace some data, right? I want to replace this true and I want to insert some other data at index number 5. Okay. Okay, index number 5, I want to insert some specific data like hello. Wait. And this will do the job. Again, if you will observe the ID of list, it will remain same, right? All the IDs of list remains same. It means that the memory is exactly same. Okay. Now let's talk about list methods. Okay. First we have append. Then we have let's not take insert. Let's take pop. Third we have, let's take clear in the end. Yeah. Sort we can use. Let's take reverse. Okay. There are many more, right? Like insert at position, index of, and many other different list methods. But these list methods, these 5 are essential ones. Okay. Now let's see what are these, how we use a list method and what they do. So this is my list. Okay. Let's print my list. Okay. Now, suppose I want to add one extra element in my list, right? I don't want to replace any element, but I want to add one extra element, that is 7 in my list. One extra element. How to do that? We use append. What is the work of append? Insert new element at the end of the list. Okay. So it always inserts a new element at the end, not in the front, not in the middle or in any specific index, always at the end. Okay. See how we use it. So you have to just name the variable, that is my list dot append method, right? Open brackets, you have to pass the value. That's it, right? We'll see that a new element is inserted at the end of the list. Okay. Whatever type of functions we are going to learn about list, the syntax to use them is quite similar. Name of the variable, the name of the list variable dot name of the function you are trying to use. And after that, you have to pass some values, right? Now, suppose you want to delete just the last element of the uh, list, right? We use pop. Pop is the second one, right? Delete last element of the list. Okay. Okay. How to use it? List dot pop. Okay. And it will delete the last element of the list. See, in our list we have seven inserted, seven here. In our new list, seven is there, right? But after using pop, the seven is deleted from the list. It always deletes the last element, not the first, not the middle, or any specific index. It deletes the last element, only the last element. Okay. Now, if you want to delete a specific element, use pop and pass the index of that element, right? Okay. Suppose I want to delete the second last element. So we know that it supports negative indexing, right? See, the second last element was 4 and 4 was deleted. So if you are using pop without passing any value, without giving any index, it will always delete the last element. If you are providing any index, it will delete that specific index. Now be very careful whenever you are using pop. Suppose I want to delete the element at index number 10. And see, this is our current list, right? After doing these many operations, this is our current list, right? Okay, let me just comment out these. Yeah, okay. Now, after doing all the operations, this is our current list. If I will try to delete the index number 10, there is no index number 10 in this list, right? Index 0, 1, 2, 3. The last index is 3, right? In case if the index is not present inside your list, you will get an error, right? And error will say out of range. Observe this particular error whenever you are using an index which is not inside your list, right? Index not inside your list. For example, if in this list the last index is index 7, right? If I try to print the element at index 17, so index number 17 is not present in this list, see what I will get, the error, and error will say out of range. Okay, so get familiar with this error whenever you are using an out of range index in list, in string, or in any other data type that supports indexing. You will get this error, right? Okay, so we have deleted the element 2, sorry, the second last element. We have seen pop, we have reverse, we have sort. Now you want to just flip the list, right? You want the list to look like this: 5, 3, 2, 1. You can achieve that by using reverse. Reverse the entire list. Okay, and same thing, my list dot reverse and print my list, right? Okay, after that sort. See, so sorting means arranging the elements, the values inside the list in ascending or descending order. Okay, now arrange the ascending order. Okay. See, earlier our list is this. After sorting, list become a sorted list, right? Now, if you want to sort the list in descending order, okay, you can do two things. Either after sorting the list, you can reverse your list. Okay, you can reverse your list. It will give you the list in descending order, or you can do the sorting, and you have to pass. You have to give some value here, right? And be very specific with the syntax. The value will go like this. Okay, you have to write reverse equal to true. Okay, and then print my list, and it will give you the list sorted in descending order. This is our list sorted in descending order, right? Now, there is a catch with using sort. Okay. See, we know we cannot compare a integer value with a string value, right? Okay. Yeah. Now suppose in my list right now up to this point only sort will show this kind of error. Other than that, none of any method we have discussed like append, pop, and reverse, none of them will show any error. Only sort. Okay. Now see, I'm trying to insert one string inside my list. My list now looks like this. Okay. This is my new list, right? Let me remove all these print statements. Okay. This is our new list, right? Now see, inside the list we have a string, right? And you cannot compare this string with any of the integer values to sort them. Okay, how does this sort work? Okay, we will discuss that about, in deep when we will discuss about methods, functions. Okay, but right now know this much, that whatever values you have inside your list, this sort will compare all that values and arrange them in descending or ascending order. Okay, sort have to perform some comparison like less than, equal to, not equal to, less than or greater than. Okay, less than or greater than. You cannot compare a string with an integer. So right now I have a string in my list. Now if I try to perform sort, I will get an error, and the error will say we cannot compare a string and an integer. See, less than operator does not support a comparison between string and integer. So whenever you are using sort, uh, be confident that the data inside your list are all, you can compare between those data, right? You cannot compare a string and integer, but you can compare a, suppose if I will pass a boolean value that is true, right? You can perform sorting, no problem. You can compare a integer and a float, no problem with that, right? Let's try with complex number. Okay, you cannot compare a complex number and an integer, so we are getting an error. Okay, so be aware of that, which type of data you have stored. Okay. Now, if you want to delete the entire element of the list, delete each and every element of the list, we use clear. My list dot clear. There is no element inside my list. It means that my list is an empty list. Okay, it is an empty list. Right? Okay. Yeah. So we have discussed about append, we have discussed about pop, clear, sort, and reverse, right? We will discuss in depth about copy, but this index, remove, insert, you can, do some research on them by yourself, right? One of the best place to look out for these methods are Python documentation, and you can go ahead with list methods. Mhm. Right. Okay. Yeah, list. Okay. Inside this list, you can use multiple methods like sort, and there are many more list methods. Okay, I think it must be present here. Okay, okay, you can find about lists in other some some other documentations also like Geeks for Geeks. Okay, so look out for some different methods. Right there, out there, there are many different types of methods. Right, for list, these are some of the common methods you will work with. Okay, now we are talking about copy. Okay, suppose I have some list with values 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, and I have some other list too with values 2 3 4 5. Well, let's not use this like that. See, I have an integer a equal to 2. I want the value of a inside b, copying the value of a inside b. If I will print a, and if I will print b, both are 2. Okay, now if I will perform some manipulation on b, suppose I will multiply b with 10 and save that data again inside b. Okay, okay. Okay, if you guys are confused about assignments, see, what I have some variable a equal to 2, means the value of a inside our memory is 2. Okay, b b is equal to a. Now what does this assignment operator will do? It will create a memory and it won't put a inside here, right? What it will do, it will put this 2 inside here. Okay, now this is a standard case in other languages, but in Python we know that if two variables are having exactly same value, Python will perform a memory optimization, and Python will just name this memory location and point this memory location with both a and b. We have seen this, right? We have discussed about this. Now, I am performing some data manipulation with b. So what I am doing? I am doing b is equal to b multiplied by 10. B multiplied by 10. Now the value of b is 20. Sorry, 2. 2 multiplied by 10 is 20, and we will put that data again inside b. So this time, a new variable box b will be created with value 20. Okay, and instead of going to this 2, b will be connected to this 20. Okay, now print a, print b. The value of a is 2, but the value of b becomes 20. See, this sounds like a non, I mean, kind of, wait, yes, it's 10. Yeah, okay. This sounds like a little bit of repeated things, right? But see, whenever you will perform these types of assignment in a mutable data types, strings, integer, those are immutable data types. So you cannot observe these changes, these problems, what we are going to face with a list. Now we are expecting this to work like integers, like, right? Any change in b cannot change the value of a. But what happened with lists? See, in my list 2, in my list 2, I want to update or insert some value like hello. First of all, let me print my list, and then let's print my list 2. Okay, okay. So this is my list and this is my list 2, similar like a and b. Okay, now I have updated some values with my list 2, right? And let's print their values. So again, printing their values. See, the change in my list 2 is also reflected in my list 1 or my list variable. It is not behaving similar to A and B. By changing the data of B, that change is not reflected in A, right? A remains the same and the data of B is updated. But with list, it's entirely different. Okay. Any change in my list 2 is also reflected in my list, and it's vice versa also true. If you will do some change in my list variable, like append some value like 4, and you cannot append multiple values like this. Okay, you have to only pass one value. Okay, see, so both lists are somehow connected to each other, and you don't want this type of behavior, like, right? Because any update in list 2 will update list, and any update in list will update list 2. How to recover from this? First of all, why this is happening? What is the problem with this one? Okay, Hmm. We have created A, we have created B. Now Python uses optimization, so both A and B are pointing to the same value too. Okay, printing value of A, value of B. Now we are performing some operation on B. So as integers are immutable data type, so every time you insert some data, it will get some new memory location. Okay. Now my list created a my list, right? And created a my list 2 again for optimization purpose. My list 2 will be pointing to the same list. Okay. Now, okay guys, don't focus on these points that this 2 is again pointing to this 2. There's no significance of that. Okay. Now my list 1, my list 2, see, now my list 2 is pointing to the same list, right? And lists are mutable data type. It means it means that whenever I want to insert some data, that data will be inserted inside this list only, right? See, that hello is inserted inside that list, okay? And my list too, both are pointing to the same list. That's why change in one list is reflected to the another list because if you see by the term of variables, my list and my list two are not two different variables. Those are the only the name of two different variables. Both are same variable. Okay. My list and my list two are same variable. Just those are the two different name of the single same variable, right? That's why any change in one list can is reflected in another list, right? Now to recover from these type of scenarios, you have to use copy. So for that, we use, suppose you want to create a my list two. With my list, we use dot copy. Okay. Now let's perform all this again. Okay. See, initially the value of my list and my list two is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have inserted some data inside my list two. So that data is only inserted inside my list two. If you have inserted some data inside my list, that data is only inserted inside my list. Okay. Now, there is one more thing about copy that you have to be very careful about. Whenever you are copying or using a nested, see, whenever there is a list inside another list, right? Whenever there is a list inside another list or these type of data, okay, nested data, then dot copy won't work. I will do my list to dot copy. Okay, comment out all these. Okay, right. Now suppose I want to update this 100 to some value like a string. Okay, for that let's use my list dot my list from the end index will be -1, and I want to access this 100, so the index of 100 is 0, and instead of 100 I want to put hello there, right? So this is my list. This is how my list will look like. And we have used copy. So that change uh, we have not changed my list 2, right? So that change can't be reflected on my list 2. But you can observe that whenever you are changing any value inside the nested list, this nested list, then that particular change is reflected in both my list 2 and my list. If you will try to change, suppose now this time I try to change inside my list 2, I want to try to change this 2. So this is my list 2, I want to try to change this 2 to 20. Okay, index number 1, update that to 20. Then that change will be only reflected inside my list 2. That is okay. But whenever you are using a nested list, then copy won't work. To overcome this, you have to use a package, a predefined code, a package, and you have to import that from copy, import, this is known as deep copy. Okay. And instead of this, you have to perform deep copy, right? Now see, the change in list 1 remains in list 1 and the change in list 2 remains in list 2. So whenever there are nested data inside your primary list, inside your parent list, use deep copy to create a new list. Okay. And if there are simple data, primitive data, okay, then you can use dot copy. No problem with that. Okay. We have discussed about list. Let's discuss about tuple. So we have seen that list is a mutable data type, right? Similar to that, we have a immutable data type. Okay, and there are very limited functions like don't have it here or anything, not assignment. Okay. See how to create a tuple. My tuple. This will create an empty tuple. Okay. This is how you will initialize a tuple with some values. If you are expecting to create any tuple like this, you can check the data type of my tuple. That will show you as a tuple. So this is an empty tuple. Okay. These are the two ways to create an empty tuple, and this is a way to create a tuple with some values. Now you can create a tuple with some values to it inside it. You cannot change the value, you cannot insert any value inside the tuple. Okay. Now similar to all other data types, it also supports indexing. Okay. Now if you want to access a particular value like 0, 1, 2, or there any other value, it also supports negative indexing, right? Now if I want to update any value, right, I want to update this 2 to 20, right? So the index of that 2 is 1, I want to update that to 20. Now okay, if I will run this, I will get the error and it will say that tuple object does not support assignment operator. It means this assignment operation means updating any value, tuple doesn't support that. Okay, so tuples are immutable in nature. Okay, strictly immutable. Like integer, you can reassign a tuple. See, this is the value variable, my tuple variable, right? Right. I can reassign the values. I can reassign some new values inside it. Okay, this is okay. It won't throw any error. But you cannot update these existing values from inside the tuple, right? If you have understand that how immutability works, then you can conclude that the ID of this tuple, or not tuple, my tuple, and the ID of this my tuple, both will be different, right? Because using this is something like creating a new tuple. It is not connected with this tuple in any way. Okay. So as you cannot update, cannot change anything from inside the tuple, so there are very limited number of method you can use with tuple. Now there are some universal method, or you can say Python methods. Okay. See, these methods, whatever methods we have studied here, all these methods are associated with list only. You can use these methods only with the list, right? But there are some methods you can use with all different types of variables which supports indexing, or which supports iteration, right? Iterables. Uh, like suppose you have a string, you have a list, you have a tuple, and you want to know the length of all these three variables. You can use the name of that function is length, and you have to just write the name of the variable you want to know the length of, right? And it will print the length of all these three variables, right? So how to use this length inside that variable name? Okay. There is one more, that is sort, right? Now, okay, consider sorted as, see, length is the very common one. You will use length always. You are always going to use length. Okay, it is a useful one. Now consider that instead of, let's take it as 10, this one as 1. So this tuple is not in a sorted format, but you want to sort this tuple and create a new tuple, right? You cannot sort this tuple inside here, because sorting means changing the index of this variable, changing the position of this variable, which is not allowed in a tuple. If you have created a tuple, that is a concrete, you cannot change anything inside that tuple, right? But suppose you want to create a list out of this tuple, a list out of this tuple that will be sorted in order. Suppose you want to create a list that will contain each and every element of this tuple in sorted order, like this. Okay, you want to create it like a list. How to do that? First of all, let's name our list, that is a result. Okay, we use sorted. Dot sort function and and this sorted one, both are entirely different, right? This sorted works with all different types of data types. If I will use my tab inside here and see what data I will get. See, I am getting a list which is in sorted order of my tuple. See, it doesn't change the values of my tuple. My tuple remains exactly same, no changes inside my tuple, but it will help you to create a list. Okay, suppose I want to use that string. Okay, you cannot sort this string, you cannot rearrange these words, these characters inside that string, but by using sorted, you can sort this string. See, inside that string there is a space, right? And space is the smallest character in the string, that's why we are getting a space in the first index. And all different characters are sorted in their lexicographical order. Okay. Okay. So these are two. There are many other universal methods like this, like length and sorted. Okay. How do you use it? You use it with and see, the observation here is it does not change the variable you are using. It will help you to create a new list. Okay, it helps you to create a new list. It is not changing the source of the data. Okay, yeah, sorted. You have to pass some source. That's it. Now suppose instead of a list you want it in a format of a tuple. Okay, we will talk about that. Let's talk about type conversions. Okay, suppose type conversions. Suppose I have a tuple and this tuple contains the result of a student. Okay, marks of different subjects of a student. And somewhere it's 198. And instead of 80, by mistake, the value that is inserted is minus 80. Okay, print my tuple. Okay. Now you have to update this minus 80 to positive 80, and you cannot do that inside a tuple, right? That is not allowed. So what I will do, I will convert that tuple to a list. We can do this using list. You can pass a tuple inside here, and this will help you to create a new list. Okay, this is my new list. This tuple and this list are two entirely different variables. Both are not connected in any way. Any change in my list cannot is will not be reflected in inside tuple. Okay, and both are not connected in any way. Okay, just this you can consider that each element of tuple is used as a source to create this list. Okay, now this is a easy way to create a list. You can also do something like this, some other operations like you have created an empty list. Now I will use append to insert the first variable, that is tuple 0. Then I can use append. Then I can use append, and after this let's print my list. Okay, and one new my list with every single value is created. But it is a tedious job, right, writing these many append statements. Okay, uh, consider that if the tuple contains thousands of elements, you have to write this append 1,000 times, right? Instead of that, you can directly use the value and create a new list from that. Now we know that we can update any value in a list, right? So let's update that end value from minus 80 to 80. Now let's print our list. This is our list. Now let's create um, our correct tuple. Now how to create a tuple from a list? Then just convert use tuple and create a new tuple, print correct tuple. Okay, and see we have a new corrected tuple created, right? Okay, now there is you have to observe. I want you to observe a very specific requirement of tuple, how to create a tuple with a single element. See, we know that this will create an empty tuple, but suppose I want to create a tuple with only a single element, right? This is my single element, and I thought that this is the tuple. But if I will print the type of this variable, it will be printed as an integer, not as a tuple. So whenever you are creating a tuple of only a single length, you have to provide a comma at the end. Okay, now this will be treated as a tuple. Okay. Okay. Okay, guys. Any doubts till now about lists or tuples? After this, we will work with concatenation. Okay, note. See, we have seen concatenation in string str1 hello with space str2 uh, world, right? Now result str1 plus str2, and it will concatenate both the strings. We have seen this one, right? Similar will go for a list 1, list 2, list 3 will be list 1 plus list 2. Print L3, and it will be a concatenated version. This list 3 L3 is not connected with L2 or L1, means any change in list 3 cannot change any value of L2 or L1. We can observe that by using, let's use append. Let's insert one new element inside list 3. Okay, that's good. Let's print list 2. You can see that there is no change. You can use list 1. There is no change. So see, you have to be very clear about these type of behavioral patterns, right? This behavior, like how to use a single element in a tuple, why this any change in L3 cannot be reflected in L1 and L2. Okay, because we are not assigning a value inside L3, we are creating a new list L3 with all the values of L1 and L2, right? With all the values of L1 and L2, we are creating a new separate list. Okay, now you can do same thing with the tuple, right? Now using T3, we are not changing any value inside tuple. Changing any value inside tuple is not allowed because tuples are immutable. But you can create a new tuple, right? You can create a new tuple by using the values from some existing tuples, right? So we have created tuple 3 by using the values of some different tuples. Okay, you can do something like this also. This is also allowed. Okay, both list L1 and L2 are added to create a new list, and you are just, this is basically a type conversion. Okay, converting a list to a tuple, creating a new tuple using some pre-existing list. That's it. So list supports concatenation, tuple supports concatenation. Okay, anything if I'm missing? Okay, See, if you want to observe all the different types of functions available for a list, you can use list.dir. Okay, and this will wait. It's not tracing out value here. Method descriptor, that's okay. I'm getting object. Okay, we will discuss about. Yeah. After this, let's move to dictionary. Now there are dictionary is a mutable data type. So there are multiple methods associated with dictionary like update. Update acts similar to append and list. It insert a new value. Okay. Then dot copy update. Okay. We have copy. We will see about others. See, dictionary is a very specific data type. Okay. It uses some special properties to store data. Okay. Dictionary uses a key value pair to store data. Okay. Now, what is a key value pair? See, inside a list, this one and two are some data, some element for a list, right? But inside a dictionary, for to create a dictionary, we will use curly braces. Consider that one is the key and 200 is the value. 2 is the key and 700 is the value. This is a single element, a single data in a list. A data in a list is always a key value pair. One more thing, um, list supports indexing. So instead of one, let me take it as a character A, this one as a character B. We will talk about that which data types are you can keep in a key. But first of all, see, we use indexing to access any value of a list, right? Okay. But in dictionary does not supports indexing. Okay. Instead of, if you want any specific value from a dictionary, you will pass that key and you will get the value. You have to use the key and you will get the value. Okay. So this is how a dictionary works. Now, there are some properties about key and value. Okay. First of all, there are, you can consider that there is only properties about key. Value can be anything. First of all, key will be unique. Means inside a dictionary there cannot be duplicate keys. Suppose if I will create another key with B and the value of that key is 500. Now this particular key is completely ignored. Okay, we will get the answer as 500. This key will be ignored, right? So inside a dictionary, key will be unique. Okay, key should be unique. Okay, another thing, only immutable data types are allowed as key. right? It means that you can create a tuple as a key. 123 is a tuple, that is my key, and 90 is the value. If you want to access that, you have to pass the key as 123, and this will print 90. Okay, this entire tuple is treated as a key. Okay, now, so immutable data types are only allowed as a key. String is an immutable data type. If you will create an integer key, so integer is an immutable data type. But if I try to create a key with using a list, I will get an error, not an hashable value, something like that, unhashable type list. So you cannot create a key of mutable data type. Okay, you cannot create a key of mutable data types. Okay, that is only the unique thing about a key. Key should be unique. Immutable data types are allowed, and inside the value, anything can be a value. Okay, by anything I mean that suppose for a key true. Okay, not true. Let's take again. Don't, I mean, always try to avoid using floating point as a key, because we have discussed that it is not possible to, I mean, most of the time it is not possible to store the exactly the same value of a floating point number, right? 56.78 cannot be saved inside your memory. It is hard to represent a floating point number, so that's why it is legal. You can use 90, it won't throw any error, but try not to use them. Okay, now let's use a true boolean value, and let's use a list as the value. No problem with that. And true. Okay, and it is printing the value. Okay, guys. So let's take a 2 minute break. Okay, I have to plug in my charger. And in the meanwhile, if you have any doubts, put down the chat. Okay, guys. Let's discuss about the different methods. Okay, let's take a dictionary. This is consider this is my dictionary. Remove these values. Okay, this is my dictionary. I want to update this 700 to something like 20 or a string. Okay, for that, my dictionary, the key is 10. Okay, and update that to a string. Find no errors, and it is perfectly allowed. Okay, you cannot change a key. Once a key is created, you cannot change a key. You can delete that key, but you cannot change a key. Okay, now first of all, update curly braces key value pair, insert key value pair in the dictionary. Now there is no end or start of a dictionary. You cannot say that this is the start of a dictionary and this is the end of the dictionary, right? Okay. My dictionary dot update, and inside this one, using curly braces, you cannot pass the key value pair like this. You have to use curly braces and pass the key value pair. Suppose I want the key as -1 and I want the value to be 80.89, right? And after this, let's print my dictionary. Okay. So a new key value pair is inserted inside the dictionary, right? Okay. Um, let's use get key to access a value. See guys, we have two methods to access a value, right? Either we can directly use a key, suppose -1, and it will print a value, or we can use get, and after inside get you have to provide the key and it will again print the value. Okay, but there both of them are entirely, you can say, work in entirely different manner. See, okay, so the key there are present inside my dictionary is a 10 b and -1. Okay, now I want to access the value from key 100, and key 100 is not present inside my dictionary, right? See what I will get. I will get a key error, right? Key error means key is not present inside my dictionary. But if I will use dot get to access the same not available key, this 100 is not available inside our dictionary, we won't get any error. At least it is error safe. Okay, we won't get any error. If the key is not present inside the dictionary, it will give you none. None means nothing. Okay, it is some, you can consider that similar to null if you have any experience with other languages. Okay. Now, if you want any specific value, like if 100 key 100 is not present inside the dictionary, then I want to display some message like key is not present. So we can do that using get, a comma, and the message you want, right? The message you want. Or if you want to print some other value like -1, you can print that. And if you won't provide any value, any message, then it will give you none. Okay. Yep. Get. What else we have? Okay. So set default is used to insert a new key. Suppose I want to insert 100. Okay. Say, okay, I have to print my dictionary. 100 is inserted. We have not provided any value, and you cannot provide any value with default. You can only provide a key. Okay. That key is inserted. If you want to update that key to some value, some specific value, you can use this flex, access the value, and you modify. Okay. But see, if I will provide 45 here, it will provide 45, right? So this is how a set default works. But again, we can use update for the same thing, but set default is somewhat different. It works differently, right? See how? Okay, we provide key value pair. See, this key B is already present inside my dictionary, right? With value 500. Now, I will again try to use set default to insert another key minus B with value 45. With value 45. But you can observe that, sorry, not minus B, only B. Okay. You can observe that the B500 remains the same, exactly same. No new value is inserted inside my dictionary, and even the value of B is not updated to 45. It remains the same. Okay, so how does set default works? Insert a new key value pair if key is not present. If key is not present. If key is not present. Otherwise, if key is present, then do nothing. Okay. Now there is one more interesting thing about set default. It always returns some result after inserting the value. It gives you some result, right? Let's try to print that result. See, if okay, let me give that result here also. Okay, see, what does that set default will do? If it is inserting any key inside the dictionary, it will give you the value in return, give you the value as a result. If that key is already present inside your dictionary, it will give you the value of that key. Okay. In each case, set default will give you the value of the key you are using inside set default. Give you the value of the key you are using inside set default. Okay. So we have used set default and get. Let's see what else. Update set default, clear pop values. Okay, let's use pop. Again, pop, delete data. But see, we cannot use pop with dictionary like this, because as I have told you that you cannot say that this is the start of your dictionary and this is the end of your dictionary. You cannot determine the start and end of the dictionary, right? So you have to provide the specific key you want to delete, and pop will delete that key. Suppose I want to delete 100 and pop will delete that key. Okay. Now this 45. Whenever pop deletes something from the dictionary, it will again return a result, and that result is nothing but the value of that key that is being deleted. This 100, you have used pop to delete this 100, and the value of that 100 is 45. So pop, it will give you the result 45. It has deleted on the dictionary. It has deleted the key value pair 145, and it will give you 45 as a return value, that this value is deleted from the dictionary. Okay. Now we have clear and similar to all other. Clear will just delete each and every element. Data, print my dictionary. Again, so this is empty dictionary. Again, dictionary is a mutable data type, right? So whenever creating my dictionary 2, you have to use dot copy, or if your dictionary, any part of your dictionary like the key or the value, any key value pair or anything in the dictionary contains a nested list or a tuple, right? Let me give the example then. Suppose this is a tuple and a string with some list. So this is containing a list as a value, right? So here in this case, you have to use deep copy, right? And to use the deep copy, you have to import that. Okay. Now, concatenation. Let's take this dictionary and this one. So you cannot concatenate two dictionary by using the plus operator as we have seen earlier. Okay, it will throw an error, right? To concatenate two dictionaries, right? You can use dot update. Okay, and be very careful. Earlier we have seen that concatenating two values will give you a new result, right? Concatenation of two lists does not change list 1 and list 2. It will create a new list, list 3. But in this case, concatenation, you have by concatenation in dictionary, what you have done, you have inserted all the values, all the key value pairs, all the data of dictionary 2 inside dictionary 1. So that is the real meaning of update, real meaning of concatenation here. You are destroying the original data of my dictionary, you are inserting some new values there, right? So be careful. Okay, now we have seen concatenation, deep copy. Okay guys, any questions from your side? Right. Now let's then talk about loop. We will talk about for loop and while loop. Now, what is a loop? Loop is a particular syntax you will always use to repeat some kind of task. Like your task is to print hello world uh, 20 times. Now in Python, it is very easy. You can create a string hello world and you can print that str1 asterisk 20 and it will print that string for 20 times. Okay. Okay. But there are some specific requirement of loops. Suppose you have a very big task in your hand and you want to again repeat that task again and again. Some task like creating a list, updating some values and tasks related to that. For that we use loops. Okay. Before going to loop, we have one new thing, that is a new function, a new syntax, that is known as range. What range will do, range always generates a number between some limits, between some values. Okay. If you pass, what range will take a start, a end, sorry, a end, and a jump value. By default, jump is 1, and start is 0. If you have, see, in this case, I have only provided 10, right? So 10 is taken as the end and start is considered as a 0. So range will generate all the numbers from 0 to 10. Okay. If you want to print all the numbers, first of all, create a result, take a range and convert that range to a list. Okay. Now print that result. Okay. And you will get all the numbers from 0 to 9. Now you can observe one thing. I have given the range as 10, right? But we are getting up to 9. Okay. So what is range? Generates number from start up to end minus 1. This is the observation. Okay. Up to end minus 1. Right. Okay. Now same thing. If I want to provide some specific start, like start from 4. So it will provide from 4 to 10. If I will say jump by 3, then after 4 it will print 7, after 7 it will print 10. And we are not printing 10, we are going up to end minus 1. That's why it is only printing 4 and 7. If I will give 11, then it will print 4, 7 and 10. So this is a range, right? Now, how to write a for loop? Syntax for that is for some variable in keyword, and you will provide a range, some specific range of your requirement. Suppose for I in range 0 to 10, I am not providing any jump value. Jump is 1. Okay. Print I. Be very careful with this indentation. Okay. Whatever I will write inside this tab, it will be treated inside a for loop. Whatever I will write outside this tab, that will again, that is outside for loop. Okay. A new code. Right. Okay. If we will print, we are getting 0, 1 to 9. Yeah. One more thing about print statement, right? You are printing the value of I, then this print statement change to a new line for you, right? But what happened? I want to print all the values in a single line like this with some separation by space. So what you can do, you can use end equal to space, and it will now print all the values by using a single space. Okay. Now, this is the syntax. I is given all the values from the range 0 to 10. Values, all these values are given to I one by one. Okay. Now, this is a for loop. Suppose you have a list with some values. You want to iterate this list. You can use this approach. Let me use a print here to change the line. Okay. Right. This approach can print all the elements of a list. I mean, for printing the elements of a list, you can use the print statement directly. But to show how you can operate on a list, right? One more thing you have, that is for element in, how to iterate on a list by using an index, right? It is not very common in Python. You will rarely require this, okay? But it is, I mean, there is no harm to learn this. See, what is the last index of this list? 0, 1, 2, 3, right? You can always observe that the last index is always the length minus 1. The length of this string list is 4 and minus 1. That is the last index, right? So if I will create a range from 0 to length of the list, why up to length of the list? Because range function always generate from 0 to end minus 1, and in the end I am providing 4 as the value, right? In this case the list size is 4, but if I will change the list size, then again this code is feasible, right? There is no need to change this code, because we are always calculating the length of the list. We are not providing 4, a static number. We are always calculating the length of the list. Now this is a index I, okay? Now you will do print my list I and with a space, okay? Right, okay. See, so this is printing all the elements of the list. Okay. Now suppose you have a work in hand, like I have a list, and the question is, requirement is update, add 200 to each element of the list, right? How to achieve this? For I in range 0, no need to provide 0 because the starting value is always 0. And what we are doing, for each index we are updating that particular value with whatever the value, 200. Okay, okay guys, if it is clear to you that how does this work, that's very good. And if you have any doubt, then let me know. I will explain this one in detail. Now this for loop works with all the iterables. Suppose you have a string, and you can for element in my string print element and equal to, right, and it will print all the values separated by a comma of the string, right? So anything which supports indexing or is a iterable, you can use for loop to print that. Now there is a specific requirement with dictionaries, right? Because in tuple, in list, in string, only one value is present at a single index, at a single box. But inside a dictionary, two values are present, right? Yeah, Arnav, what is your doubt? Okay, let's see. Suppose you have a dictionary. Let me take some dictionary. So I'm not from the management team, right? Your concern can be handled by management team. You can write them an email or contact them. Okay. Now, for element in my dictionary, print element and then end with a separation, right? See, it is not printing the key value pair, rather than it's only printing the key you have stored inside your dictionary. So that is there is a specific requirement of the dictionary to print the key value pair or only the elements or things like that. Okay. First of all, if you want to print the values, you have to use dot values with your dictionary variable. It will print only the values, right? If you only want to print the key, this is your one option. Another one is you can use dot keys. Okay. Okay. You have two options now. If you want both key value pair, right, then you can use items and it will it will print key value pair. Guys, observe this one. Here you have a key value pair, right? A single key value pair is treated as a tuple. Okay, by for loop, a single key value pair is treated as a tuple. A colon B, A colon 200 was your key value pair inside the dictionary. But here, A comma 200 is treated as a tuple, right? For this one to operate with a dictionary or to operate with a tuple, we have to learn one more thing, that is tuple unpacking. Suppose if I will write A comma B is equal to 10 comma 20, this is fine with Python. Okay. Okay. Uh, print A comma B. A comma will throw me an error. Okay. It will print the values 10, 20, right? So 10 will go to A, 20 will go to B. Okay. Now, if I will only give you A, it will give, okay. If I will only give you A, I'm not using any small brackets here to create a tuple, but it will be treated as a tuple. Okay, this is tuple packing. We are creating a tuple, right? Okay, but see, what is tuple unpacking? Consider that I have a tuple with value 90, comma 80, comma 70, and I want each of these values, right, inside different variables. Okay, yeah. Okay, so let's use variable x1, x2, x3. Let's print all these variables x1, x2, x3. So each variable of x1, x2, x3 is holding a single integral value, integer value. It is not holding a tuple, rather than it is holding the integer value, right? Type of x2 is an integer. Okay. Similarly, type of x1, x3 is an integer. Okay. So this is tuple unpacking. Now, if you want to perform tuple unpacking here, what we are getting from dictionary dot items, we are getting a key value pair. So just put k comma v. Now k will be your key. Okay, and let's use formatted string. K is your key and v will be your value. Okay, let's end by using Okay. See, you can access A and 200 separately using K and V. Okay. Now this is again useful. Let's take an example. Suppose this is my dictionary and our requirement is add 200 to each value of the dictionary. Okay. First of all, for k comma value pair in my dictionary dot value, let's take items. Okay. And what we will do, we will update each key, and what we will do, we will update the value by 200. Okay. And after this one, let's print my dictionary. See, each and every value is updated by 200. Okay. Now these are very common functions, I mean very common requirement. Okay, how to use IPYNB? See, IPYNB extension is used for a notebook, Jupyter notebook. Okay, in Jupyter notebook, you will get this type of multiple notebooks to write your code. Okay, .py file is used to store or write single Python scripts. Okay, a Python script always target to operate on some given inputs and create some specific output. Okay, but in a Jupyter notebook, each cell, this one single cell, the purpose of this single cell is independent of each other, right? You can do anything inside a single cell. Consider a single cell as a one Python script. This one cell is a separate Python script. So instead of creating code one, code two, like hundreds of .py file, I'm using IPYNB to create multiple cells. Okay. Yeah. Okay, this one is updating 200. So this is a very easy task, right? Updating by 200 and all these things. But you have to observe things like how to interact with dictionary, how to use items and all these things. There is one more thing, a universal method you can say, a method which is available for all other iterables, that is enumerate. What does that enumerate will do? See, enumerate will just return you a tuple with an index and whatever the value that iterable is returning. For example, I have a string hello for I comma val in double n enumerate my str. See, this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 that is generated by enumerate. Okay, sorry. And this value, each value is given by your string, right? So that is how enumerate works. If I will use enumerate with this loop, right? Okay. Be very careful. It is returning a tuple of index and value. This value can be anything returned by your iterable, returned by your variable. Okay. The variable on which you can run for loop like this are known as iterables. Okay. So in which you can separately access each single value. Those type of variables are known as iterable. String is iterable. You can access each single value, but an integer is not iterable. 123. You cannot separately access this two. You cannot use indexing this with this two, or by any method you cannot access that two. So integer is not an iterable. Now we are using enumerate. Okay. See, this time, this time, this k, this k is holding the index, and this v will hold the value. And we know that dot items will return the value in a tuple format, right? See, 0 for the index, and this is the value given by that dictionary. Okay. Now to again unpack this value, you need two things, that is dictionary key and dictionary value. Now this dk and dv holds the value. Okay. See, why there is a value error? Not in a value to unpack. Expected 3 got 2. Okay, so okay. We are getting a nested tuple. See guys, this is okay. A tuple is giving you three values. You are using three values. If I will remove x3 from here, we will get an error. In this case, we are getting error. Why? Because this tuple is expecting three values to unpack. It wants three values. Okay, three variables to store these three values, but you are only providing two. That's why we are getting error. See, too many variables to unpack, expected two. Similar kind of error we are getting here, not enough values to unpack, right? Okay, now it's good. What we are facing right now, we have a tuple, some value, and inside the tuple there is another tuple, right? Okay. Now if I will do a comma b and I will print a comma b, that's okay. A will be an integer, b will be the tuple in itself, right? I cannot do b comma c. And why I cannot do b comma c? C is expecting some data from inside of this tuple. Okay, we are not, let me put a comment here. So this is index 1. This entire tuple is treated as index 1. Okay, so we are not unpacking that 30 inside this C, rather than this whole one, this whole tuple, this whole tuple is given to this B. Okay, you have to separately take care of that. You have to separately unpack that B. Now we can do, that's okay, right? So if I will put C here, what we are expecting, we are expecting the size, the length of the tuple to be 3, but the length of the tuple is 2. So we can only provide two variables there. Oh, you can download the Jupyter extension. Okay, my net is a bit slow. Yeah, this one, this particular extension, Jupyter. Okay. So we have only two values to unpack, but from this value we can derive another two values, because that v is again a tuple in itself, right? Okay. Now, so I think this is all about dictionary and list and all other data types. If you guys have any doubt, then you can put that on the comments. Let's talk about a little bit of formattings. Suppose you have a Okay, see, 1e4, what does that mean? 10 to the power 4. Okay, if you have to write a very big number like 10 to the power 9, 10 to the power 12, you can use 1e notation. It is not able to just print 1e19. Let's take a smaller 1e9. Okay. So whenever you have to take any number like 10 to the power 9, 10 to the power 15, you can use 1e9. Be very careful. It is returning a float value, not an integer. If you want an integer, you have to typecast that to an integer. Now we are getting an integer. And if now I will put some larger values like 10, it should be printed, yeah. And if I will provide 19, yeah. Okay. Now, suppose I have a float value, float 1, with some values like 56.7890. This very big value, right? After decimal. But I only want the values up to 78, two decimals points, right? What we can do, can print format, right? F1, you can use colon point 2, right? And this will print. Mhm. Okay, point 3. It will print a total of 3 digits from the float. Okay, 3 digits. And see, a very interesting thing, it is rounding up the final value. Okay, so if you want a total of 4 digits, only 4 digits, you can use dot 4. It will print the 4 digits. Okay, from an integer, let's try from an integer. Suppose I have an integer a with value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want to print or take only 3 digits, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 3. See, it will throw you an error. So be very careful. See, as I have told you again and again that float, Python operates with floats separately, okay, and it will operate with integers separately, right? See, precision not allowed with integer specifiers. Okay. Now, it is, see, this precision is not only for printing. If I want to create a floating point f2, I can use that precision. F1.3. And now if I will print f2, you will get 56.8. So it is not only for printing purpose, you can extract the exact value from the float without any using any loop or anything like that, right? So these are some of the formatting tips, especially this float one. You will always require this to print your values. Yeah, yeah, for rounding up purpose there is one more, that is from, if you have a very big or whatever type of float values, you can use round to round up the values and print the specific value. It is giving the error. What I have to, no. Is there any round function inside math? Oh, there is no round function. Okay, okay, okay. Sorry guys, this round is present in Java and C++, not in Python. You can directly use formatting to round up the values. I think there is some one more that will be present inside math. We have ceiling, degrees. Yeah, if you are using with some mathematical functions which use sine and cosines, right? Sine theta, cos theta, all those things, you can import that here. Sine, you have cos, uh, tan. Okay, and if I will try to print like sine of 30. Will it print that? Yes, sign up 30. Right? Yeah, it is printing a negative value and all those things, right? So that is the part of the trigonometry. You are expecting some values in division format, right? But Python doesn't work like that. It will return you the specific value of a quadrant. That is the part of the trigonometry. You can leave that. Okay. Yeah. One more thing. You can also perform some of the string formattings. Okay, yeah, one more thing. See, if you want to work with date time in Python, date and time, those are again a data type in Python, not a specific a data type. You can say there's object. We will again discuss about objects in our upcoming sessions. But if you want to work with from date time, import date, print date, comma, not date, it's date time. It will print the current date, time, and millisecond of your local system. Okay, the exactly date, time, even the milliseconds of the local system, right? And okay, this date. Now, what is this date? See, acha, suppose you have something like this. My date of birth 1/01/2000, like this, and you want to print that in a date format. Okay, if that one was script, no, string object cannot be impressed as an integer. Let's take year, month, day. Suppose I will pass year 2000, month 4, day 14, not 0. Yeah, now it's giving the correct date. Okay, see what we are doing. We are creating a new date. Suppose your date of birth is 2000, month 4, and year 14. Then create a new date using date of birth. That's it. Guys, there is one more thing. See, you can use one. You can use one. Now, if your task is to print point two, if I will use point two, oh, again, sorry, it is not present here. Okay, you cannot format, you cannot use precision specifiers with integers, right? Point two, it will again throw an error. Precision specifiers are not allowed with an integer. But okay, so my question is, if I will provide 0, 1, will it be treated as an integer? Okay. Any idea? See, in any language, if you are using 0 to initialize a value, okay, it is throwing an error here. I have to convert it to, let's take some value like 12. Will it work? No. If I will use a, will it work? It's again throwing an error. Okay, but see, observe this one. I am getting an error or getting some, you can say, warnings here in this case. Why? Because any value which is starting from 0 is considered as a hexadecimal value in any language. Okay, you cannot give 0, 1. You can provide 1. 1 will be treated as an integer. That's okay. But if you are providing 0, 1, this will be treated as an hexadecimal value. right? Values in hex 01, again not converted, but if I will convert 12 to hex, yeah, it will be okay. A will be treated as a string and print A. It is the hexadecimal format of 12, right? Now, if you want to just provide the exact value like this, okay, I'm providing X here. See, a value starting with 0 is treated as a hexadecimal value by any language. But if you want to provide a hexadecimal value from your side, right? I want to provide a hexadecimal value like if here, I have to use capital A. It is not taking what is the value of capital in hexadecimal up to 8. I think it's 10, right? I'm not sure. I think it's 10. Okay, that's 16. So for hexadecimal value, 10 is considered and the value is 16. It is basically the conversion between decimal values and hexadecimal values. Okay, conversion between decimal and hexadecimal. Decimal and hexadecimal conversions are happening here. Okay. Okay, guys. So if you have any doubt, you can put that on the chat. Otherwise, we will close the session. Hmm. In our next session, we will discuss about methods, overloading, right? Actually, Python does not support overloading on its own. Okay, and we will discuss about some of the specific different types of libraries you can use with functions. All right. Okay then. Okay, then see you tomorrow.